Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy y'all, Ronald Laughlin here. We're on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And if you're joining us today from YouTube and not a subscriber to the USA Global TV and Radio Network, please seriously consider hitting the subscribe button. We'd really and truly appreciate that. When I'm not doing TV shows, my primary role in life right now is a researcher. I look at the human body, the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. So I'm looking at what chemical reactions are going on. What can we do about it? So that's what I study literally every day. I just got finished writing a book. It'll be published 4th of July. It's called Aging Sucks. And it talks about all the different causes of aging and pathways of disease and what control we have over all of it. And we actually have more control than most people think. But that's what I do, and that's what I enjoy doing. When I'm not doing that, I do my TV shows, and today's the first one. And today my guest is Diana Sussman. Diana is an author and a lot of other things. So Diana, please join me up here on stage and we'll get started.
Hello, Red. I'm really thrilled to be here today.
I am also, and howdy from my end of the world. I'm here in the Houston, Texas area. Where are you at?
I am in Westport, Connecticut, and I'm loving the spring.
Okay. Do you love the springs in Westport, Connecticut more than you do in Bermuda?
You know, I love Bermuda too, but in the summer of Bermuda, we'd actually go out to Colorado to get cool because it gets too hot in Bermuda in the summer. And I love the winter, fall, and spring in Bermuda. It was great.
Yeah. I'm in Houston. I love July and August. They're my two favorite months. I'm serious. I really am.
Really? It's not hot and humid?
I love hot, flat, and humid.
Oh, okay. Then you'd like Bermuda in the summer too.
I've been to Bermuda. I was stationed there a couple of times for some active duty with the military. So I've been in and around and about that. Flew out of there quite a few times back in the, I guess, early 80s. But getting back to you. Okay, a lot of things. Let's talk about your first book here that went up for a couple of awards, became semi-finalist. Let's see here. It's The Neighbor's Secret. Let's talk a little bit about that for a minute.
I'm really excited. It's my first published book. It's a middle grade novel. It's a mystery, the first book in the Maddie Mystery Series. And it's actually a finalist in the Tassy Walden Awards and for the American Fiction Awards. And I'm pretty proud of that. I mean, I love the fact that it got such validation for my first published effort. And I can't wait for my second one to come out.
Well, congratulations on that first one. That's a real achievement. What do you consider the difference between a middle school mystery novel and other kinds of books that are available to middle school that are typically out? Who are your competition?
Oh my gosh, there's great competition out there. Fabulous writers. I mean, middle grade mysteries are obviously geared toward middle grade. So my book is about a 12-year-old girl named Maddie, and she thinks her new neighbors are Russian spies. And she actually discovers a Russian spy, but it may not be who she thought it was, but maybe it is. I don't know. You have to read it to find out. And it was inspired by real stories. FBI Operation Ghost Stories is something I researched extensively. I love history. I love current events. And they really did discover 10 Russian spies who were living as everyday Americans. And when they discovered that they had children, they had families, people were shocked. The children themselves didn't know they weren't who they were. And I thought that was a fascinating set of facts. And I also had read about a nanoscientist who had revealed certain secrets to Wuhan University. And I just thought this was a great concept of a 12-year-old girl discovering a Russian spy. And, I thought that would be really neat. And I also drew from my experience as a lawyer because had represented people who were being investigated by the FBI or interrogated by the FBI. So I have a lot of information about the FBI, so I can draw on that experience as well.
They had a TV series on not long ago, I think just before COVID, called The Americans.
I found out about that series 3/4 of the way through writing my book. I didn't even know about it. It's based on the same exact set of stories. That's exactly what it was based on.
I love that series. I really enjoyed it a lot. Anyway, but when did you start writing The Neighbor Secret?
Probably just before COVID in 2019. And it was a great process. I happened to work with different writing critique groups. One was from the Westport Writers Workshop, and one was from the Fairfield County Writers Lab. And I got to say, both groups were instrumental. I owe so much to my fellow critique members, and I owe so much to the leaders of those groups, Christine Bacala and Victoria Chareau. They were both fabulous, and I still work with them on my third book, which I'm writing right now, and it is set in Bermuda, Red. So I'm going back to Bermuda.
Okay, I look forward to that one. Anyway, so you wrote the book. How long did it take you?
The first book took a while. Probably took a year and a half. I think I rewrote the first chapter 42 times because I needed to understand how to write for middle school. And it's been a while since I've been there. And it's also, books have changed. When you looked at if you looked at a classic book, you have the beautiful landscape setting, and then you kind of focus in a little on the town and the house, and you get closer and closer, then you find the person and you figure out what this is all about. Today, it's exactly the opposite. Now you kind of have like the tear, and then you find out it's running down a girl's face, and she's sitting in the back seat, and they're dressed in black, and they're going to a funeral. And it's almost like if you took a cinematic camera and did a close-up and then kind of panned out. So you have to rewrite for the current audience.
I just finished writing my book here literally this past week, and I did everything except for the final and the beginning. I finished the final last night. I'm doing the introduction today, and then I'll go into edit mode. So that's, I'm familiar with what you're saying. And I congratulate you on doing it that way. That really does make a difference as to capturing the attention on the front end of that book that we talked about. So when did you get involved with an editor? Because when you start having characters in a novel and a plot and time frame and locations and everything, what kind of editing help did you get?
Well, like I said, I had critique groups that you went to once a week, and you submit your 4 or 5 pages, and you basically give constructive criticism. And they're all from the person leading it, who is a published author, and there are other people in your group who are also authors, and it's a fabulous experience. And I didn't get editing help from the publisher until after the book was finished, and I got an agent, and the agent finds the publisher, and it's kind of like that.
I know in the speaking world, we do a lot of critiquing of other people in the hour that we have Toastmasters. And over time, I find that the ability to listen to a speech and critique it for what it does well, what it needs some improvement on, et cetera, makes me a better speaker because I'm recognizing things real live time. So I'm assuming that as you're in these critique groups, that you're also picking up this experience so you can help other authors. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. I love helping other authors. I love reading other people's work. I truly do. And I love collaborating. And, when people come up with good ideas and things, oh, well, maybe you should do it this, or maybe you could think about this, or maybe I want to hear more about this, or did you really mean to do that? It's just a fun experience. It really is.
Okay, you mentioned you have a series. The first book is written, second one's getting ready to come out, and we're going to talk about that one here a little bit. And you're writing a third one. So, how many books do you see in this series that you're currently writing?
Well, right now I'm scheduled to write 3. So this will be my third one in this particular series. And then hopefully everyone loves it and they want more, and I'm happy to write more of them. So we'll see. Right now I'm planning for 3.
Okay, quick question: are any of the books going to be in Russian?
In Russian, I don't know. I should ask my publisher that. I mean, she kind of helps me make that decision. And so, yeah, that's a good question.
Well, whether it's in Russian or Spanish or German or Japanese, it doesn't matter. Getting your book, recognized, making it very prominent that what you have done. One of the next steps down the road is, maybe this thing is. I don't know what cultures really are into middle school mystery novels, but obviously the book is about a Russian spy situation. Maybe it might be one of those things that I don't know if the Russian culture is into that or not. I have no idea in the world, but obviously your publishers probably have a lot better idea. But just ask the question, why not?
I will ask the question.
Yeah, I had a guy on last week. His books were in 15 different languages, and the 16th was Arabic coming out. And it wasn't something he suggested. It was something his publisher suggested to him. I thought that
Oh,
was
it's a good idea. It is a good idea. I do think it's in Spanish right now, for sure. I haven't really focused that hard on which languages it's being made available in, but I do know it's being made available around the world. You can buy The Neighbor's Secret right now, and pretty soon The Texter's Secret will be available as well. And The Texter's Secret is the second book.
okay. So you wrote the book, you had help editing it, you got a publisher, you got it out. Let's talk about the cover, for instance. The publisher did the cover for you?
They did. I love my cover. I think it's a great job. This is the book. And, they were very nice about it in terms of being able to give me, they asked my input. They asked me what I wanted to see on the cover. When they designed it, they asked me for my approval, and I was very happy to work with them. They were terrific. And the second book, I've seen the cover. I can't reveal it yet, but I'm very excited about that one too.
I don't have a cover for my book yet, although the book is going to be published July 4th. But I have 3 concepts, and hopefully by the end of this weekend, the designers will be working on it. So I've been spending so much time writing, I have no time for anything else. So I'm going to get back now to marketing and other things. So
I
marketing,
love the name of your book, actually. I think it's a great name.
aging sucks.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is, you got the book written. When did the marketing start for your book?
You have to market the book before the book even goes out, to be honest. And I was probably a little late to the game because I was a newbie, but you need to have a website. You need to have Instagram, Facebook. My website is dianasussmanwrites.com. And my my social media is on Instagram. You can find me. That's my website. And my Instagram is Diana Sussman Writes, and my Facebook is Diana Sussman Writes, because I like things simple. And if you got it in one place, you can find it in everywhere else. So that's easy.
And how often do you get involved in the marketing? Because a lot of people, they have the publisher do it, but they also have their own marketing plan that's working, in parallel tracks with the publisher. So what are you doing personally on your marketing?
I am actually working with a good friend of mine who happens to have his own marketing business. His name is Ed Katz of Catnip Marketing,
I,
and he is helping me market my book. And he works with a group that helps me with the website and Amazon ads and all these things I don't know about. And I do need to do a lot more work on getting outreach to get to schools and meet the middle school readers who are hopefully going to be reading my book. And I love meeting my readers. It's so much fun. In fact, I'm going to Weston Library on May 21st, and I'm going to be doing a they call it an investigators group because it's in Weston, Connecticut. So there's a W instead of investigators. And when I first saw it, I thought it was a typo. And they're like, no, Diana, we're supposed to call it this. And we're going to talk about Spycraft. And I'm going to show them how to write invisible ink messages. And I have all these cryptograms planned for them and lots of other interesting activities.
I thought one of the most ingenious ways of sending messages, this is 2,000 years ago, they would shave the head of the person, write the message on the head, let the hair grow back out. Then they would deliver the message, they would shave the head, and then the message is there. Nobody could find a message anywhere on them. And I thought, well, that somebody came up with a pretty brilliant idea there.
That's pretty clever. I mean, I would never have thought to look on the top of someone's head. That's brilliant.
Well,
It's funny, in researching this book, The Neighbor's Secret, I learned a lot about the Culper spy ring, which was George Washington created it to help the colonists during the American Revolution, and he did it while he was living in Cranberry, New Jersey, which is where our book is set. And the members of the Culper spy ring were actually in Connecticut and New York. And one of the ingenious methods they used to share messages is laundry. They would hang laundry, and this woman, Anna Strong, is one of the members, would put a black bloomer on the laundry, and based on how many different bloomers she would place next to it, that would tell them the number of the cove where they would have a secret meeting waiting for a message from or to George Washington between two of the Culper spy ring members. So it's kind of fun how they use ingenious ways. So this particular group actually used laundry as well as invisible ink and cryptography and all sorts of things.
Yeah, that reminds me of you see the spy putting a chalk mark on the outside of a mailbox, and then the person drives by, they see it, they know whatever to do. So again, as you say, so ingenious, all the different ways that we have nowadays. And of course, there's cameras everywhere nowadays. You can't hardly do anything without being seen doing something.
Right. And so that's why the simplest methods are usually the best ones. And it's very interesting. But back then, for example, the book goes through Agent 355, who was one of the first female spies, and being a real promoter of feminism and giving female empowerment. I was really excited to feature Agent 355 in the book because I also love weaving history into my mystery. And what she did is she discovered that Benedict Arnold was a traitor, and he was giving the secrets about the weaknesses and the defenses of West Point to British Major Andre. And she, because she found out about this, was able to intercept the letter and prevent them from finding out these weaknesses, so they couldn't take Westport. Not Westport, West Point. And West Point was a pivotal fort during the Revolution. So she pretty much single-handedly saved the colonists and helped us win the American Revolution, and nobody ever learns about her in school. It's kind of interesting.
I did not know that. That's something I'll have to go. I like history like you. It sounds like you know a lot of history. So were you aware that, at least it's been attributed, I'm pretty sure it's true, but I really have not absolutely researched it, that Julia Child was a spy for the U.S. When she was over in France?
Actually, I did see something about that. There was I guess, Women's History Month, just as a series of little quick posts, I actually looked up different stars and famous celebrities who actually used their access to be spies. And it was fascinating. Yeah, I did see that actually.
It's interesting when it's done out in the open. It's amazing what can happen. But when you're trying to be clandestine, you get caught. But when you're out in the open, there's just so many things that you just do normally that, well, is that a telltale sign? I don't know. So anyway, we're coming up on a break here in just a few seconds. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about marketing. I want to go down the end of specifically video marketing and the use of AI. So when we come back, let's kind of talk about that for a little bit. And I'll join you back here again, about a minute or so.
Okay, sounds great.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no? lowering your price to secure the opportunity, giving more while receiving less. Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Wargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Red O'Loughlin here. We're on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And my guest today is Diana Sussman. Diana, please join me.
Hello again.
Just before the break, we were talking about a few things. And AI is one of those things that's really come on. I use it all the time. I mean, an hour a day is not uncommon for me to be talking to one of my favorite friends, brainstorming on things. And, okay, what about this? What about, okay. And so it takes a long time to get them, slapped up the side of the face. This is what I want. But anyway, do you use AI at all in any of your research?
In my research, I might get an initial start in terms of asking questions and finding sources that they reference in their answers and taking it from there. But I never rely on AI because as good as it is, it makes mistakes and it pulls out errors. And it's not something I would be comfortable relying on. I like to go back to original sources, and I like to confirm even the original sources and find out the biases of the people who are writing them and everything behind it before I decide it's a valid fact.
You're familiar with Grammarly?
No.
Okay, Grammarly used to be just like a grammar spell checker. But they have an AI package that's in there. It's about 10 or 12 different things it does. About half of them are AI. But it'll go in there and, for me, it's a wonder drug because it gives me citations for the things that I am writing, which is all technical. Oh. But it also gives me a fact checker, two different parts of this thing. So when I ask my AI that I normally use, about getting citation, no problem at all. I said, well, what about fact checking it? No problem at all. I said, what about plagiarism check? No, I don't do that. And so when I'm using Grammarly, I will go in there and I'll do the citation and the fact check. And it turns out that, okay, these 7 citations are great. Next document. Okay, these 5 are great. These 2 aren't. And all of a sudden, the same thing is giving me the citations, turning around and giving me, no, those aren't good citations. So, for me, it's a like I say, a wonder drug because I don't have to go research everything and pull out the page numbers of that particular PubMed or National Institute of Health or whatever. And then at the very end, it says plagiarism check. And this may sound funny. It probably is. I was telling my wife the other night, I says, finally, I had a plagiarism that I copied somebody. And that person was Red O'Loughlin.
You're allowed to copy yourself.
and I thought it was kind of funny coming from Grammarly telling me that I copied Red O'Loughlin. That made my day. But anyway, it's one of those things that, and it gives me a challenge. What in there would be typically AI driven. I mean, most of the time you can pick AI because they've got really long dashes, almost automatic giveaway. But there are other things in there too. But it comes up and says, this phrase is more AI than it is common. Okay, well, maybe I change that phrase. Maybe it's something I generated, but I don't want it to be interpreted a certain way. So I find it to be fascinating for just brainstorming. If you wanted to have a plot brainstormed, that would be a perfect, person to run things back and forth.
That's a good idea. I've never used it that way, but it is a great idea, honestly. So maybe I'll use it in the future for that reason.
I'm just planting seeds. That's all I do.
Well, the only thing I'm really familiar with AI on is I also wrote a musical with three friends called Virtually Ours, and it's based on an AI-driven dating app. So in that respect, we had actually thought of it before Bumble had announced it. We started writing that in 2019 as well. And it's about five 20-somethings who are about to turn 30, overworked, and they don't have time to meet anybody, so they turn to an AI-driven dating app, which creates an avatar for each applicant, and that avatar goes on thousands of dates without wasting a single second of your time, so that you don't have to. And it'll tell you based on algorithms what the three top choices that you should meet are, and you go on three speed dates. And there's a 97% match, at least after the second round. So it was kind of a fun musical. And it was featured in the New York Sparks Festival twice, and we're in the process of looking for producers. And it's very relevant, it's relatable, it's got fun music, and it was just a joy to work with my three friends. So that's the most familiar area I am with AI. Also, I created some ads for the Neighbor's Secret. Actually, not for the Neighbor's Secret. It was really just about word etymology. For example, eavesdropping. I once asked AI to create a picture to show me what an eavesdropper would look like. And it was a person standing under an eave, because the etymology is when you would stand under the eave in the rain, you could hear what was going on in the house. And that's where the term eavesdropping comes
Oh,
from.
interesting.
And I'm an etymology junkie. Like I love, you hear phrases like the upper half. Like the reason they call wealthy people the upper half is because, you know, in the Middle Ages, the king would have servants who would make bread, and the bottom half of the bread would burn. So the bottom half was cut off, and that was given to the servants to eat, and the upper half was given to the royal court. And that's where the term upper half came from. Or, posh, it's actually an acronym from a ferry ride, like not on a ferry ride, like if you're going on a cruise and it's port out, starboard home, and that was the most expensive cabins that were on that particular spot. And so if you could afford those cabins, you were posh, port out, starboard home. And that's where the term posh comes from. So I just love etymology, and every now and then I'll do uh, posts about etymology just because I enjoy it.
Interesting. I've heard the term posh. I never knew where it came from, so thank you for that.
Sure.
And it sounds like a rabbit hole we could go down for a long time. But anyway, getting back, when I mentioned AI just before the break, I also said video marketing. Is video marketing something you or your publisher is doing for your books?
I need to start doing more. I need to do reels. I actually do have the most adorable video that one of my friend's nieces actually sent to me. She gave her my book as a gift, and she loved it so much. She sent a video to her aunt saying that she loved it so much. This is her fourth time reading it. And I was like so thrilled and touched that she read my book four times because she loved it so much. And having my own daughter and watching her grow up and loving to watch shows that she loved over and over again and read things she watched over and over again, that to me is the highest compliment.
The video AI options now are, I mean, you can take and go to your AI and say, give me a 35-second conversation, whatever. And you can write it out and you say, here are all the facts. Give me a 35-second video presentation, and it will take all your facts that you have and maybe 2 pages of a chapter or whatever it may happen to be, and then condense that down to 35 seconds. And then you go into an AI that will do videos for you, and it will produce a video literally in less than a minute. And so by the time you start to the time that you're actually posting videos on social media is about 10 minutes, and it costs you nothing but your time.
That's awesome. I have to look into that. Is there a platform you use to do that, or?
I use Hypernatural is the one I use. I use the free version, but there are a lot of them out there. That's just one that's available. I use ChatGPT as my primary AI, but I have a couple other ones that I use depending on what the nature of the search is. But I
Interesting.
find to be hypernatural is fairly self-explanatory. Not a whole lot of YouTube videos telling you how to use it. But again, you stumble through a few things and it kind of figures it out. But again, there's probably even better ones than that out there now because I've been using that for a year.
I'm sure there are. I mean, I don't know. I have to get, my daughter uses Claude and my husband has ChatGPT and I don't, like 8 or something. I don't know, but I need to get something. I don't have it yet.
But it's another tool in your bag, and it's not AI that's driving your intellectual property. It's AI that's marketing for you. And so
Yes.
there's a lot of things. Just like we've been using AI for decades with spell checker, but we really didn't think of it as AI. It was just a spell checker. Uh, but
Right.
but nowadays it's doing, it went from spell checker to grammar checker to now it can't leave you alone when you're typing an email because it's got to fix something.
Yep. I gotcha. I think it's a great source. I'm gonna start using it as a tool. It's a great idea. And it's funny because, now you don't know what's real, right? Which is one of the thoughts I had from writing The Texture Secret, which is the book coming out, because in the beginning of that book, Maddie gets very scary texts that can, make it show that the person is, sees her. She's like a stalker texter. So it's really scary. And she's determined because she's Maddie to figure it out. She decides it's either A, B, C, or D, and she's gonna go and figure that out and stop this person from doing this. And that's what I love about Maddie. She's smart, resourceful, courageous, and she gets things done. And that's what I hope girls take from this when they read it, is to have a strong female protagonist character. And I hope that they see confidence and they know they can be who they are and they can really have a role model in a sense that makes it okay to be them and to pursue their interests. But getting back to the text, we learn about burner phones and you don't know who's really texting you and you have to be careful because they change the email addresses, they change the texting numbers, and so you may think you're getting texts or emails from certain people and they're not who you think they are sometimes. And I think that's important for kids to know too.
Is Maddie doing the same thing with Russians in the second book? Or let's talk in the second book here for just a quick moment. What's the basic plot of the second book?
She has to figure out who this texter is.
Ah,
And,
okay.
basically
Mystery,
she has
mystery.
a few choices. And one of them is that, and this is actually true, the spies in the FBI Operation Ghost Stories who were caught by the Americans, they were swapped for Russian spies, American spies that the Russians had caught and released. And she reads in the beginning of the second book about spies getting released. So yes, she does find some spies, spoiler alert, but I won't tell you who they are. And basically, she is nervous that maybe this is, you know, the KGB or something getting back at her. I don't know. She's a little, frightened about that. Although, as people point out, they're really not going to go after a 12-year-old girl as a serious threat, but maybe she is. Any rate, so she winds up stumbling into something pretty big and she thinks it's one thing and then it becomes another. There's a lot of twists and turns. Very fast-paced book.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. Maybe I should get one, but I don't right
Well,
now.
it just, again, it's part of being an author. You want visibility. You're on a TV show right now. The videos that you would be making for your marketing would certainly go there. Just another tool in your belt of things to have. I read in your background, we didn't talk about it too. I don't think we talked about it all backstage, but I guess from high school on, you've been in different plays or have a fascination for being in that particular genre of things. And I think you also wrote a play. Is that right?
I did write a play. It was a New York City She Arts Award finalist, which I was really proud of because it was my first play. That's about also 20 somethings this guy thinks he's found the perfect person in New York because he's run into her 3 times randomly, and it turns out that she likes the roommate, which isn't the best result for him. And he starts going online, and he basically falls for the avatar that is created by her roommate, who's getting her PhD and trying to do something. It's almost like a Turing test. I don't know if you're familiar with that, if you can tell if you're talking to a real robot or a person. And basically her PhD project is, can you develop feelings for a person you've never physically met? And it turns out that they're not even real. Going back to what's real and what isn't, and that you don't even know anymore with AI. And he eventually finds out that this is an avatar. He doesn't know for the longest time, and then he has to choose between her and the avatar that she created. So it's sort of an interesting story.
Do you have any favorite authors or books that you would like to share with us?
Oh, I love, spy novels, like all the Dan Brown books, the Tom Clancy books, all of that stuff. I also read something called The Weight of Ink, which is by Rachel Kadish, completely different genre. And it has 2 time frames. One is like Shakespeare's time, like 16th century England, and one is present day. And it's just so fascinating to me how she wraps up the historical events that really occurred and creates this double story. And at the heart of the story, it's really about women's place in society and how it's changed and how it's stayed the same. And it's a fascinating book. I had the pleasure of meeting her once at a speaking event, and she told me it took her 13 years to write it, and she researched every single word she used during the 16th century to make sure it was actually being used then, because she wanted to make sure she was factually accurate in terms of what vocabulary was being used. And she, in part, was my inspiration when I write, to make sure that my language is very relatable, that it's what real kids would say. I had beta readers look at my books, and I think it's so important to be factually accurate to things that you're putting into. And so I really loved her writing, and I loved her book.
16th century English is probably a foreign language today.
It definitely is.
Well, if we get to that point in time in the program where I need to ask you a question. Diana, do you have any signings coming up? How do people get your books? How do they get in touch with you? Please let us know.
Follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Diana Sussman Writes. You can look up my website, dianasussmanwrites.com. Again, I'd like to keep it simple. The Neighbor's Secret is available anywhere you can buy books, online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or any kind of bookstore. And the second book, The Texter's Secret, is going to be out soon. So look at my other website, or my social media to get information on that. We're just finalizing everything right now. And I'm starting my third book, which I believe I'm going to be calling The Bermuda's Secret. And I haven't finalized that title yet, but I thought I'd keep it consistent. And it's set in Bermuda. And just keep me posted. And right now I have the Investigators group coming up in Weston on May 21st after school. So I'd love to see you. And I need to start scheduling book signings for The Texter's Secret, but I'm waiting for my release date.
And you need to go to Bermuda a couple of times, at least to make sure your story is accurate, and to set up some book signings there too, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Diana, it's been great chatting with you today. I look forward to our next conversation down the road, and have a wonderful day. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Okie dokie. Rebel Laughlin here. We're getting ready to sign off on the Corner Bookstore today. My next show is called The Wise Ones, and I have a show after that called Talking Heads. And today's topic, I'm talking about actually how do you build credibility and authority, particularly as an author. And so that's going to be my topic coming up in about, hour and 20 minutes or so. But Join me here in about 20 minutes for my next show, The Wise Ones, and I look forward to continuing our conversation. So you all have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you in a little bit. Take care now. Bye.
My Tummy Hurts by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends, and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world.
In a quiet seaside town in Greece, where sunlight warms the stone paths and the sea whispers nearby, a new adventure begins. Lady Ella and her brother Lord Jack have arrived with an important mission: to teach kindness, patience, and the power of listening. In a hidden alley, a group of forgotten cats feel unseen and unheard, lost in silence and growing misunderstandings, until someone finally takes the time to truly listen. Because when we listen from the heart, loneliness softens, kindness grows, and new friendships begin. This is Book 10 of The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor book series. Find all Dr. Kerbeck's books on Amazon and in fine bookstores worldwide.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.